vortex. You want to know a fun fact? I dropped acid like 10 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Does that mean I need to do it again? If I were more organized, I would be unstoppable. If I were more organized, they probably would have already killed my ass by now. You know? That's not an exaggeration either. Because they tend to kill off people that are a threat. No, I actually don't think that's the case anymore. Because ever since Trump got elected, there's just been this non-stop truth reveal. And more truth has been disclosed. I think it's very possible for somebody like me to exist without having to worry and be consumed with paranoia. But you know, I've always been paranoid. That's not the reason I don't have a smartphone, by the way. I don't have a smartphone because I fucking hate them. It's not because I think they can't track my fucking flip phone. You know, I'm sure they could if they wanted to. I just don't know why people want to make it easier for them to do what they're doing. It's about that time. It's about that time for me to horrify you with my lack of musical talent. Sometimes I wish that I was better at this. But whenever it's good, it wouldn't be so good if I was. I understand that everything's a process. I understand that everything is somewhat of a mess. And any attempt to clean it up is futile. Any attempt to not fuck it up is laughable. I accept that I'm a mess. I accept that I fuck up. I accept that I am a mistake. Literally, I was adopted. That's what that means. My mommy didn't want me, but I guess she didn't want to break God's little heart by ripping me out and acting as if my life didn't mean anything, acting as if it wouldn't mean anything to her if she did that. I think a lot of women, because of the lies that they've been told through feminism, as well as science. She blinded me with science, right? That statement could not be more true today. that they can do a lot of things, and they just assume it's not going to affect them psychologically. And then after they do the thing, they realize, wow, that was way worse than what I thought it was going to be. Well, that's why it's just better to not have sex. If that could be the end result of such an activity, I don't know why you would engage in such activities. And if you say that, if you try to encourage the society that's responsible, people get upset and they act like you're fucking unreasonable for that shit. No, you're the one that's unreasonable, dude. You think I'm not conscious of the fact that people make mistakes? You think I'm not conscious of the fact that people do stuff that's not in their best interest in the long run? Well, that's why you gotta nip it in the bud early. If you had pulled me aside a long time ago and told me not to drink so much, then I wouldn't fuck total strangers that I met in a bar. I probably wouldn't have listened to you. And not just because I was a liberal, but because I was self-destructive. And I think most liberals are pretty self-destructive. It's because they don't believe in God. And if they don't believe in God, then they probably don't feel blah, 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 blah. If they don't believe in God, they probably don't value human life. Like the fact that we can rate ourselves the way that we rate ourselves, this shit ain't right. They have a term for that. Nazi Germany, their eugenics program, they call it life not worthy of life. Okay? They got this program up in Canada. It's all about assisted suicide. And they're pretty much like encouraging people to commit suicide if they don't value their life, which is really fucked up. Now, I am actually cool with euthanasia. A lot of people will be shocked by that. I don't think that we should have to suffer. I think that if somebody is in chronic pain and they're conscious of what they're doing, they should be allowed. I mean, that's free will. That's free will. My friend shot a deer yesterday because somebody had run into the deer, or the deer jumped in front of their car, and she said its intestines were hanging out, and the deer was just screaming in pain, and so she had a gun, she shot the deer in the head. We euthanize dogs and cats whenever they're in too much pain to keep going, you know? It's just the problem with this is that, you know, the government, if the government's involved, it's not good. But, you know, I just don't think that people should have to suffer. And I think that that's the right way to look at it when it comes to, like, physical pain. But emotional pain, though, I mean, I've always said you just get on a fucking antidepressant, and then you can kill yourself, and then people are like, oh, but they just had a history of mental illness. Yeah, that's right. like whenever, sorry, I keep starting and stopping. That's just kind of the way my brain works. It's like they're totally fine with all these other ways that people are killing themselves every single day. So it's like, if you got such a problem with suicide, then why are you cool with technology? Why are you cool with fast food? Why are you cool with pornography? Why are you cool with transgender medicine? Why are you cool with any type of medicine? You know, it's just like everything in our culture is like by design here to make us kill ourselves. Okay? So whenever people make a decision that's very, very permanent to commit suicide, you know, obviously you can't reverse that shit. You know, people think that's so wrong, it's so evil, it's so immoral. But they're totally fine with fast food, they're totally fine with technology, they're totally fine with watching TV and all this other stuff that's like a slow suicide. Anyway, I'm just a lot more honest about that shit. I say if you want to kill yourself, fucking do it. But think about it though, think about it though. Really think about it. I'm gonna lose a lot of subscribers with that one, but that's okay. You can't handle honesty, I don't want you here. People need to acknowledge that not everyone is gonna agree with you. Not afraid of a different opinion. What a pussy. Not afraid of somebody believing shit that's totally wrong. They're misguided. They're blinded by the bullshit of our culture, by the bullshit of politicians, by the bullshit of education. If you know what you're doing, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, see, what they're doing in Canada is completely immoral. I'm not cool with that. The government is taking advantage of the fact that people are not happy. And they're saying, okay, we have a solution for you because we're loving and compassionate. Yeah, that's the government's job, to be loving and compassionate. Say I have a friend. I've thought about this a lot. Say I have a friend that was in a horrible car accident and the car like caught on fire or something. And they had like 3rd-degree burns all over them. And they don't want to suffer anymore. They don't want. And like they asked me, hey Amy, can you give me some drugs so that I can kill myself? It would be really hard for me to say no. I don't know if I would say yes, but it would be really hard for me to say no. Because I'm compassionate. I don't want people to suffer. I'm not like fucking Mother Teresa that enjoyed watching people suffer and, oh, it brings you closer to God. I mean, yeah, it does. That's true. But that doesn't mean that you revel in human suffering, bitch. She was fucking evil and sadistic. Okay? And she was part of a sex trafficking ring. But anyway. I don't enjoy my suffering, but it does bring me closer to God. I don't think people should suffer, all because it brings them closer to God. I wish it didn't have to be that way. I wish that we would just seek God in our own volition. I mean, when I'm happy, I'm close to God. But I'm conscious though. A lot of people when they're happy, they're just happy about whatever's in the moment. Like, oh, I got my lollipop, or you know, it's like people are children. They have convinced people that the reason why they're happy or the reason why they're unhappy is because of situations, because of things, people, places, and things. It's them. The reason why they're not happy is because of their mindset. That's why I tell people, like, just because I might seem like I'm really angry and sad, that doesn't mean that I'm not happy overall. Okay? It's fine to be sad. It's fine to be angry. It's fine to be bitter about certain things. So, the fact that people think that there's something wrong with them, all because they feel negative emotions sometimes. They think there's something wrong with somebody else because they feel negative emotions sometimes. Like, that is everything that's wrong with this country. And so we're not looking to ourselves, because if we have God inside of us, that means that we have the solution within us. They want us to be convinced that, oh, if we just vote for these people, we'll have a higher quality of life. Or if we just have this item in our possession, we'll have a higher quality of life. If we just drive this car, we'll have a higher quality of life. If we just have this job, we'll have a higher quality of life. You know? It's just kind of dumb. Because I know so many people that change so many things, and they're still fucking miserable sacks of shit. Because it's in here. It's in here. Okay? Like I've said, you don't have God in your heart, Satan's gonna fuck with your head. But if you do have God in your heart, it doesn't matter how screwed up your head is, because you'll remember that it's still good. You know? It's still good. But back to my feelings on euthanasia. If there are people that are conscious of a decision they're making, like, for people to try to stop somebody from committing suicide in relation to like say somebody's actually in the process of committing suicide, if you're like trying to stop them from doing that, you're kind of interfering with their free will, you know? And that's precisely why all these people that work in politics and advertisements, okay, marketing, news media, education system, psychiatry, that's why they go so hard. Because they're playing God. They're interfering with your free will. Okay? And not enough people are conscious of that. The more conscious they become of all the ways that their head is being screwed up, the less they'll pay attention to all the bullshit that they're telling them. The less they'll believe them. And the more they can exercise their own free will. Okay? But yeah, euthanasia is a very controversial topic. But no, I mean, I would never want somebody to continue to suffer if they have the option to not have to. You know? It's like I told y'all a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, I don't even remember. I went with my friend Kimberly, the same one that shot that deer in the head. We went and put her dog down. I don't think I mentioned this before. The bitch bitch that was responsible for administering the shot, she was a fucking sociopath. And I say that because of how excited she was to do this. Like, she was one of those people that's in the medical profession for the wrong reason. She was one of those people that's in it because she wants to play God. Like, I would never want to end somebody's suffering also I can pat myself on the back and act like, oh, I'm so awesome, I'm doing the Lord's work. That's not what that's about. I mean, if you can help somebody, you can help somebody. Like, there's a huge difference between people playing God versus people that are doing what God wants them to do because it's the right thing to do, okay? You see somebody suffering and you try to help them versus, like, patting yourself on the back because, like, oh, I'm so awesome because I did something for this person. And you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a sociopathic tendency that a lot of people have, that they want to control. They want to control the situation, okay? Now, there are people that are involved in very dark science, okay? Like, if you work for a pharmaceutical company, like, it would be fine if you killed yourself, all right? Like, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't think you're selfish. In fact, I would think that would be a selfless act on your part. You should self-emulate. You should self-emulate. That's what you should do. Maybe God won't send you to hell, considering. But yeah. There are people that are sociopaths in the sense that they want to fuck with people. Like, they want to make people's lives miserable. And then there are people that are sociopaths that they think that they're doing, like, they think they're doing the world good by being involved in a field that ends suffering. But it's really for them. It's really for their ego. And, like, I could tell that this bitch had that personality trait. It's very, very disturbing. And I wasn't the only one that noticed it either. Because, like, everybody in that room knew that about this bitch. And they just assumed that, well, she was probably desensitized to this. Because there were other nurses in that room that were crying. Because it's a really emotional thing, being around people that are letting go of a pet. Okay? Because that pet is a member of the family. And anybody that enjoys doing that is fucked up in the head. And I'm sure that's true of, like, you know, funeral directors and, you know, pretty much, like I've said, everybody in the medical profession. But, yeah, I'm sure that's true of, like, so many different professions, that you have a lot of sociopaths that get involved in fields that give them that control. But yeah, man, it was fucked up. It was fucked up because, like, this dog meant a lot to me, and so I really didn't want this dog to be taken out by that bitch. You know, it's just horrifying. But anyway, if you can help aid somebody like, I would say that the goal is that they don't kill themselves, and that their quality of life is such that they don't think that that's an option, you know? But at the same time, like, you got to use discretion. I would say Kimberly is a really spiritual person, so she has righteous judgment. She could tell that, okay, this deer is fucking suffering, and I have a gun. So, you know, it's just, you got to look at it logically some of the time. And I think that a lot of people, they're not able to exercise righteous judgment because the politics of their religion get in the way of understanding what the right decision is. You know? Like, if you know somebody that's suffering, like, mentally, and I mean, that's why so many people kill themselves, dude. It's just that they've convinced so many people, though, that their life isn't worth living. And it's nowhere near as bad as it seems to be. You know, like, and it really is, like, it's all in your mind. So, when it's not all in your mind, that is when you can make a decision like that. That's when I think that God isn't, I mean, this is my own personal opinion, okay? So somebody's gonna get mad at me and say that I'm, like, going against the scripture. But discernment is a beautiful thing. But yeah, if you have the option to put somebody out of their misery, and you don't exercise that option, you're probably going to feel guilty about that, you know? Like, I don't think that she lost sleep because she did that. I think that she probably would have lost sleep if she hadn't have done that. So, that's the thing. Like, I try to live a life where, you know, my conscience is free of, you know, guilt, and I don't want to be burdened by things that I've done. And, you know, that's why confession exists. That's why I'm an Orthodox Christian. But also, you know, I used to be not that great of a person because of shit that I was dealing with. And, you know, that wasn't fair, that I did a lot of things that I did. But, you know, I like to think that I'm a much better person than I was back then. But who knows? Maybe I'm still the same shithead. I hope not. It just seems to me like, yeah, a lot of people, they don't want to try to improve upon their life. They just want to assume that it's all worthless. And it really isn't, you know? Like, unless you're, you know, stuck in ICU and you've been in ICU for like 5 years or something, or, you know? If you're in a position where, like, things have not gotten better and you've done so many different things to try to make your life better and it still hasn't worked, like, that's my issue with so many people in this country, is that I don't think that people really try. You know? I mean, how very few people are willing to, like, change their diet. You know, because diet has a lot to do with it. You know, you are what you eat, right? Well, when people are eating nothing but a bunch of genetically modified crap that's designed to change our hormones and make us all gay, then, you know, it makes sense why everybody's depressed. But, yeah, if they're not conscious, they're not gonna know that. So, I don't expect much.